around the state of Oklahoma. It's time for Oklahoma Sports Scene. Hello again, everyone. Chris Link along with the coach, Gil Cloud, the TPS Athletic Director and the Hall of Famer. We welcome you to another edition of Oklahoma Sports Scene here at the Bricktown Brewery Restaurant, 3301 South Peoria. Come here and enjoy lunch, dinner, and some good drinks, some good home brew, too. You'll have a good time here. Coach, got a heck of a lineup, a lot of football to talk about.
I'll tell you what, we got more football. We had all the championship weekend last weekend,
right.
And it settled a great deal, and we'll talk about that, who's going to be in that Final Four. And also the bowl games. We got a lot of bowl games and high school state championships, 6 of them, got 3 to go.
Guerin, the Tulsa World Sports Columnist, will be here to talk all the college football playoff action and bowl action as well. And Michael Knight from OKPreps.com and our own Oklahoma Sports Scene will kind of give us a wrap-up of the 6 championship high school games played so far. And then, Coach, you got something interesting, an esports coach coming.
We got one of the most unique things we're doing this year during the Tournament of Champions basketball tournament on Saturday morning. We're going to have an e-sport tournament on Saturday morning in the Mabee Center. And our guest, Ryan Boatright from Webster High School, will tell you how to enroll and get involved with that competition. Chris, it's one of the coming things.
Yeah,
There's no question. The Activity Association, I was down there last week, and it's going to be a sport within 2 years in the state of Oklahoma.
It'll blow your mind. Here's some of the money they're paying these young gamers around the country and around the world. Just unbelievable.
Incredible.
Remington Report is going to feature the lady trainers of Remington Park Racing. Be a good feature I think you'll enjoy coming up later in the show. Right now, let's talk about the Heisman. Just announced there are 4 finalists. We're hoping for 5.
Yep.
So no Chuba Hubbard in New York, I guess, right?
Chuba didn't make it, but Jalen did.
Yeah.
We got Burrows from LSU.
Right.
Chase from Ohio State.
And Justin Fields, the Ohio State quarterback.
Yeah, and so I think that they had the right 4.
Yeah.
No question. We talked about Hubbard a little bit. He did not have a great Bedlam, and really his last 2 games before Bedlam, he didn't gain the yardage he had. Now, a lot of people said that he was beaten up, he was tired. He had a step slow, and now there's some consternation as to whether or not he's going to play in the bowl game, or if he's going to go out and go through the draft. So we'll see what happens with him.
Talk more about that with Guerin Emig coming up. But, Coach, what about that Big 12 championship game? The Sooners battled back, win it 30-23 in overtime with a great defensive performance, except for 2 plays that made it pretty exciting.
It's amazing when you have the second or third team quarterback come in and throw for as many yards in 2 plays as he did. Now, one of the first pass was a throw up.
Yeah.
I mean, that should have been an interception.
Yeah.
He throws that ball up in the air, has no idea where it's going to be. They catch it. And what a football game.
Yeah.
And when you talk about that one thing that a lot of people don't like to hear about, Sooner Magic, everything fell in the line on who had to win and who had to lose and so on. And then Oklahoma had to take care of business that morning with the overtime.
And they did. I was there at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, along with Thomas Walking Stick. Let's look at Thomas's recap of the Big 12 Football Championship at Jerry World. And after championship weekend, the Final Four was announced by the college football playoffs. Number 1, LSU, 13-0, the SEC champions. Number 2, Ohio State, 13-0, Big Ten champions. Number 3, the Atlantic Coast Conference champion, Clemson Tigers, defending national champions, 13-0. And then Sooner Magic, number 4, OU, 12-1, the Big 12 champions.
You know, they played in an overtime game, and you had a little concern about that, how the committee would look at that. But what a football game, and really two evenly matched teams. And I'm not sure that they weren't evenly coached, evenly
Great
played.
job, yeah.
I think it was a matter of mistakes here or there, and you know it always is. That's one of the things that got me out of coaching. You know, it wasn't a matter of having better players or worse players. It was a fumble or an interception that would always cause the difference. And so that was a heck of a game. And then, of course, you know, the one that worries me of the whole bunch is Clemson.
Yeah,
they play their conference championship game 62-17. My gosh,
they're the defending champions. Have got pretty much bad mouth all year, you know, for their league schedule. Within their fault, they play in a weak conference. So, well, here's the setup of the semifinals. December the 28th, Saturday, OU plays the 3 o'clock game on ESPN in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia, with number 1 LSU. Then at 7 p.m., again on ESPN from Glendale, Arizona, the Fiesta Bowl hosts number 3 Clemson, number 2 Ohio State, and the Texas Bowl the night before, December 27th, Oklahoma State, A&M, bunch of Aggies there in Houston, Texas, the Texas Bowl.
Should be a heck of a game, I think. You know, it's an old rivalry from the Big 12 days, and you know, now Coach Gundy, you know, had a disclaimer right off the bat.
That's right.
He said this is the absolute best in the history of college football, a football team to have a 7-5 record. So we'll see about that.
We'll talk more about that with Guerin Emig, our sports columnist at Tulsa World, coming up for the next 2 segments. A lot of football straight ahead on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers. Cheers. All right, y'all, how's everything tasting?
That is awesome.
I come bearing gifts of the liquid variety.
Bricktown Brewery. Come and get it.
Hey Mo, have you seen the MDX? I'm pretty sure it was in the showroom when I left yesterday.
No, sorry, Jen. I haven't seen it.
Are you positive you haven't seen it?
Hey Mo, I went ahead and pulled the MDX back up on the showroom for it. Oh, hey Jen.
Haven't seen it, huh?
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene at the Bricktown Brewery on South Peoria here in Tulsa. Our good friend Guerin Emig, sports columnist at Tulsa World, is here. Got a lot of football to talk about, but first, I guess the announcement just made on Monday afternoon about the 4 Heisman finalists. We kept looking and hoping, but no Chuba Hubbard in the trip to New York City.
Yeah, I was afraid of that, Chris. He needed a big finish.
We were talking Bedlam. He could have gone over 2,000 in Bedlam.
Yeah, and even the 2 games before Bedlam against Kansas and West Virginia, where I really thought he had a chance to pile up the yardage, didn't really do it. I mean, he had good games. For anyone else, they were really good games. But he needed 150 to 200 in the last 3 to close, push him over 2,000, and really get himself in the conversation, because he just wasn't there much of the year, fair or not, and I think a lot of it was unfair.
Let's talk about the no real drama who win the Heisman with the 4 finalists.
Yeah, Burrow may win by one of the largest margins in history. He's been so good for LSU. He doesn't have the rushing numbers that some of the other quarterbacks do. Obviously, Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, who will be in New York. But boy, oh boy, his passing numbers are off the chart. And what really impresses me, Chris, is that it's one of the best stat lines of any quarterback under pressure in modern college football history. Wow. So in other words, if you get to him, he still finds receivers.
And his percentage is what, over 75%?
He's on pace to break Colt McCoy's single-season record.
Unbelievable.
And that defensive player from Ohio State who deserves to be there, great player.
Chase Young. Oh, yeah. No, he's phenomenal. a lot of guys in New York who will also be duking it out in the Final Four, so to speak, in the playoff. Two terrific matchups, but I know that most of the country is excited about Ohio State Clemson. They feel that might be the national title game right there.
Wow.
Could be. You know what's interesting, if you look at the stats, I saw a comparison to Mayfield and Murray with Hurts, and his is better. And yet he probably will come in third or fourth this year in the Heisman.
Yeah, well, the thing that, Gil, he's been phenomenal, better than I expected. I thought he'd be good in Lincoln Riley's offense. I didn't think he put up these numbers. Hurts' issues have been turnovers.
Oh, absolutely.
Ball security and a few interceptions. And as a result, Oklahoma's playing sort of a different brand of offense, right? As they enter the playoff, they're a little bit more ball control. They don't move as quickly with Hurts, but that helps the defense.
Sure.
Fewer plays to defend, gives them more rest, and I think it's helped Alex Grinch sort of stamp his print on the OU defense.
A lot fewer snaps on offense this year than, oh my gosh.
Let's go talk about the Big 12 championship game.
Okay.
You were both down there at AT&T Stadium, and a great atmosphere, about 70-30 crowd, probably OU, would you think? Or
yeah, there were more Baylor fans than I actually thought there would be.
Made a lot of noise, too. And we thought it looked like OU was in total control of that game. The defense shut everything down. They had 106 yards of total offense except for 2 plays.
Yeah, no kidding. Wasn't that crazy?
Wow.
Well, 2 things. Hurts did have a couple more turnovers to sort of help Baylor's cause, but you got to tip your cap, don't you, to Matt Rule. They lose their starting quarterback early,
and
Riley Brewer. They're banged up throughout the game. Both teams are banged up throughout the game, and they just kept coming. And they actually had a halftime lead. I thought if Trey Brown doesn't catch Chris Pratt, the kid who caught the 78-yarder, if Trey Brown doesn't get him, Baylor scores a touchdown. That might be enough for the Bears to win the game, and then they're in the playoff.
And that's our Tulsa Union kid who actually saved the championship game last year too, right?
But the safety, against Texas and Ellinger,
right.
Amazing. OU played great defense except for those 2 long passes. But no, hats off to both teams. I thought it was a really compelling game.
5th straight Big 12 championship for the Sooners. 13 of the last 20 conference titles have won. This was a stat I couldn't believe. The last 5 years, Guerin, they are 44-4 OU is in conference football games. Yeah. They've had more championships, 5, than conference losses, 4 in the last 5 years.
It's sort of their version of every year that there's basketball and they flash the graphic of when Kansas was playing at Allen Fieldhouse. Bill Self has more conference championships than losses in Lawrence. That's sort of the football version of that. And Oklahoma's dominance of the Big 12 is just like Kansas in basketball, I think.
But, you know, it was said earlier this afternoon, I was listening to a radio show, and the Big 12, as far as the coaches that they've attracted, is pretty good right now.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a good quality of head coach. Rule is a good example. I think Les Miles is going to do it at Kansas, and the existing ones we have. So, really, don't you see that the Big 12 will get their stature up a little bit across the country?
They will if Texas would just be Texas.
Yeah.
And this was supposed to be the year, right?
Yes,
I mean, Ellinger, you heard
back,
Ellinger.
Right?
They're back.
After
They're
the Sugar Bowl.
Austin,
After the Sugar Bowl last year. And what happens? They go 7-5.
Right.
But you know what? Here's the thing. The Big 12 has some terrific matchups in the bowl games. It's not just OU.
That's right,
against LSU. Baylor plays in the Sugar against Georgia. Texas gets Utah, a team that everyone thought might be in the playoff.
Right.
Iowa State plays Notre Dame.
Yeah, I saw that.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
And then the Cowboys, OSU, gets your old friends from the Big 12.
Yeah.
Talking about the college football playoffs, that Final Four released, and I'll tell you, Sooner magic again works. So looking back here, when the first college football playoff poll came out, OU was number 15, right? I know that because I read Guerin Emig's column this morning here. But number 15, and then everything had to fall in place, right? I mean, and you look back, one of the key games I don't talk about much is Arizona State beating Oregon. That helped too. So talk about that progression.
Well, it was a little bit like 2015 because when they suffered the loss, there was just so much that had to break right. They suffered the loss a month ago at Kansas State.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just that they had to fix some things, but there were 6 different other games down the stretch that had to go exactly right. And wouldn't you know it, all 6 broke
Sooner
right
magic.
for OU. And in the meantime, you got the Sooners getting a break, I think, and that Iowa State probably should have won the game in Norman if Kolar catches if Brock Purdy spots Charlie Kolar and doesn't throw into coverage. And then even TCU, they're still upset about the spot that Hurts got on the quarterback keeper on 4th down. If they don't get the spot, if OU doesn't get the spot, maybe TCU takes over, drives the field and scores.
Right.
And what a start there with Lincoln Riley. 3rd year as the Sooner coach, 3 consecutive Big 12 championships, 3 times the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I was so impressed with the job they did this year, Gary. We talked about this. He really transformed his game. He's an offensive coach, but kind of let his defense run the story and kind of pull back on the offense some.
He had to because he figured out the strength of Jalen Hurts is running the ball.
Right.
It's just what he's most comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Right.
And he has Kennedy Brooks, not just running to sort of take some of the wear off the quarterback, but Brooks is often the lead blocker when Hurts runs that quarterback counter. And so they're slowing the offense down. They're running clock a lot more. The drives last 10 plays, not 2 plays, like we're used to seeing. And in the meantime, things are beneficial that way for the defense because they get more rest. They don't have to defend 90 plays. They're defending 50 to 60, and the scores are a lot. They're scoring in the 30s now, not the 50s and 60s.
Right.
And they've overcome some key injuries too. I mean, there's top running back Anthony to start the season. Then they lose Trey Sermon.
Right.
Who's the great tight end kid, Calcaterra.
Right.
I mean, they really and the offensive line rebuild job that Bedenbaugh did is amazing. With 4 guys off the NFL.
They only had Humphrey coming back, the center. I just wrote something that they actually fans should be thrilled regardless. I mean, I know they're going to want to win the game. I'm not silly. This is OU we're talking about. Everyone's going to want them to beat LSU. Yeah. They haven't won a playoff game. It's probably time that they did it. Yeah. However, however that game turns out, and the wear of the holiday season, starts to die down, fans should realize that this team, I think, is ahead of schedule. The program's ahead of schedule, just in terms of, again, as you mentioned, the rebuild that Grinch had to do, that Bedenbaugh had to do on the offensive line, and that we didn't know what to expect from a one-year quarterback in Jalen Hurts. I thought they accomplished
no question. And you talk about that offensive line, from where they were on game one and where they are today is incredible. The confidence they have in their blocking schemes and the leadership of their center, Humphrey, made a heck of a lot of difference, I think, of the growth of all those guys. So what are they going to have to do to beat LSU?
Prayer probably wouldn't hurt. I would have said that had they drawn Ohio State.
Right.
Here's the thing: LSU's defense is not vintage LSU defense, but they still have some guys. Grant Delpit, their safety, may win the Thorpe Award as the nation's best defensive back. They look awfully good to me in shutting Georgia down in the SEC championship. They completely dominated at Texas A&M in the regular season finale. But I think the Sooners can make some plays on offense. The problem is what do you do about Burrow? What do you do about I think the best 1-2 punch at wide receiver in the country, and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. And then they by the way, you throw in a running back who ran for over 1,000 yards, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's going to take 40 at least, I think, to win this game, and that's not a shot at OU's defense. That's just how good LSU's offense is. And the question is, can OU get to 40 in this game?
And then Clemson, Ohio State, the other semifinal, the night game, and that's going to be a classic.
Oh my goodness! People just forgot about Clemson because they were just methodically steamrolling the ACC. It's not their fault. The ACC is mediocre.
Sure.
And here they are running up 50-point wins, including over Virginia in the championship.
Oh, the championship game.
But for a team of the way they're playing and the way they've done in the playoff the last few years, and for the experience that Dabo has coaching in that game, I mean, I half expect them, if not expect them to beat Ohio State in the semifinal. You just don't want to mess with that team and that program.
And your national champion pick?
I kind of think Clemson is primed again. They seem to all be coming together. Again, they're not going to be fazed by anything. You saw what Lawrence did against Alabama a year ago. That version seems to be back, and as long as he's throwing like he is, they've got every bit as much talent as Ohio State. If they beat the Buckeyes, I think they win it all.
We got another segment with Guerin coming up here. You Cowboy fans, we'll talk about Oklahoma State's season, about their bowl game with Texas A&M coming up. Also about Coach Phil Montgomery being retained by the University of Tulsa, and the Razorbacks with a interesting hire as their new head football coach. All straight ahead on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Stay with us.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brew house? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
Each week we talk about the GTR, and we know for a fact that Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon put out a tremendous paper. Well, I brought all 6 of them today. I'd like for you to see them. The Union Boundary, and here is the Owasso Rambler. And if you live in Bixby, how about the Bixby Breeze or Broken Arrow, the Broken Arrow Express, Jinx, District Gazette, and then, of course, the Tulsa Midtown. All of those, the GTR. If you haven't had an opportunity to read one, do it, and you'll be proud of it.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, and we got Guerin Emig still with us, and now we're going to go over the bowl setup first with Oklahoma State. What do you think?
Cowboys have an interesting game, don't they, with Texas A&M, an old friend in the Big 12. Cowboys haven't seen these guys since 2011, I think is the last when the Big 12 went to win a different direction, or some teams from the Big 12 went a different direction. I think this comes down to the Pokes, Gil. I think that there are two questions you have to ask. Will Spencer Sanders be healthy? And the quarterback, Mike Gundy sounded optimistic on the Texas Bowl teleconference last night that he thought that he'd be fine by then. We'll see. That's 2.5 more weeks, and we'll just have to wait and find out. And then the other question is Chuba Hubbard and whether he's going to play in this game, because when he was talking about his future after the Bedlam loss, he didn't exactly sound 100% committed to anything. I don't blame him. He was upset about losing. He's tired. He's probably sore. It's been a long season. But until we hear from Chuba himself that I am definitely going to suit up and play in this game, I think we all have reason to be curious as to whether he's going to be available.
End of the year, 1,936 yards, just so close to that 2,000 mark. Average 6.3 yards a carry, 21 touchdowns. A remarkable story. Great speed. Really a great kid too.
Oh, he's terrific. It's a shame that he's not in New York. If they'd had a fifth finalist, I'd like to think he would have been the guy. He's much better than people are aware of. He's going to make someone a terrific pro.
Yeah.
Because there's two things he can do. He can run. We've seen that clearly this year. But he can also catch, guys. And if Mike Gundy, I think, wasn't so worried about keeping him healthy, he would have flipped him the ball more. I think he should have thrown it to him perhaps a little bit more anyhow, especially after Tylan Wallace went down. So he's going to make Oklahoma State very proud moving forward in the NFL. I just wish he'd gotten the trip to New York that I think he deserves.
Where's he projected, NFL? Here you go.
Below the second round.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if that's because he tailed off at the end of the year and maybe there's an injury there that a lot of people don't know about. Who knows? But those guys do their homework now, and they know. And maybe because they don't think he's mature. He's a year out. He could still go another year.
Mm-hmm. I got to ask you, Coach Gundy is scouting upon Texas A&M. Not that Mike ever goes into hyperboil, but
not that he ever does.
Greatest 7-5 football team in the history of college football.
Those were his words.
He called Texas A&M, and you look at it, and Mike made his points because they lost to the 3 number 1 teams. They were rated number 1. They lost to Clemson, Alabama, LSU, the all 3 ranked number 1 at the time.
Yeah.
Lost to Georgia number 4 and Auburn number 12. That's their 5 losses.
Yeah. No, if you play someone from the SEC in a bowl game, no matter when it is or where, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
They're not going to be fazed by Hubbard or Sanders or Colby Harville-Peel, and I mean they're not, and they've seen everyone in that league, and then there's 3 or 4 of the best teams in college football. I'll say this. Gundy's track record in the Bulls is pretty good.
Yeah.
What is he, 9-4?
I think that's right, yeah.
9-4 in the bowl
games,
and I think 7-2 since 2010. He usually has Oklahoma State ready for games when that's a lot of times, fellas, the key. Because in those lower tiered bowl games, a lot of times it's motivation.
Right, sure.
Gundy has his guys ready and interested enough to win those games, and I think he'll have them ready in Houston.
He's got such a great record in the playoffs. We might start this rumor that he may be the next Dallas Cowboy.
God.
Mike Gundy?
No.
I thought you were going to go Lincoln Riley on me tonight. You're saying Mike Gundy, huh?
Yeah.
We got the wrong Bedlam coach for that job?
But he's good in the playoffs.
That's right, in the playoffs. December 27th, the Texas Bowl at Houston's stadium, the home of the Texans down there. 5:45 kickoff our time on ESPN. By the way, Oklahoma State leads the series 17-10 all time with A&M. Last meeting you mentioned, Guerin, in 2011, they won a heck of a game, 30-29.
Mm-hmm.
So, heck of a game. Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, a lot of Aggies down there. So, drive down there and support Oklahoma State fans. Let's talk now about the University of Tulsa.
Okay.
Kelly Hines had a story in the Tulsa World again that confirmed the fact that after some meetings, the two top people decided they're going to keep Philip Montgomery and give him another chance here, another year. And your thoughts on that for Coach Montgomery?
Well, clearly this has got to be it in terms of Coach. We're showing a lot of loyalty here.
Yeah.
We like you. It's clear everyone enjoys. Look, there's not a soul that doesn't enjoy Philip Montgomery.
That's right.
He's a great dude. He's terrific for the university. great ambassador, good kids. They all, act the part. But the fact is, they're 18 games under 500 the last 3 years. I think he's been given a gift to try to improve on that. It's time to make good on that. If you're going to get brought back after you've gone 18 under 500 for 3 years, it's not enough to go 4-8. It's not enough to go 5-7. They've got to at least break even and go to a bowl game.
Yeah. They had the two that played in the conference championship. Had both of them beat.
Right.
Oh, I know.
I mean, they're so close.
Yeah.
And they're young. They have some seniors, but they're still young. And but I would say that if he doesn't do it this next year.
Yeah. And his first 2 seasons, he mentioned he won in his first season. He won 16 games his first 2 seasons. Went to 2 bowl games. But the past 3 seasons, 2 wins, 3 wins, 4 wins. I guess look at the end of this season, win 2 of the last 3. And you mentioned, Coach, you got to beat both those teams that are representing the conference in the bowl championship.
Yeah,
So.
guys, I remember writing after they lost to Oklahoma State that, a lot of people are going to say, well, they played them close and in moral victory. And I wrote in the Tulsa World, this team's too good for moral victories. Even then, you could see that he had a good team.
Yeah.
Right.
They just didn't get the results, and that's got to change.
Yep.
What would the odds be that the University of Arkansas will announce Sam Pittman as the new head football coach? And the first question is, who is Sam Pittman? So Guerin, fill us in about this guy.
I know of him only because back in August I wrote a series on the '99 Sooners, the 20th anniversary of Stoops' first team.
Yeah.
And the offensive linemen on that team all swore by Sam Pittman because he was their position coach under John Blake.
Oh.
And they went to Stoops as a group and said, look, you're going to do what you're going to do, but we want you to at least consider retaining this guy. That's how much they believed in him. And he has that reputation as a player's coach. He's been on a lot of places, and he's had a lot of success in a lot of places. But you're right, he's not a household name, and he's never gotten a shot to run his program. So we'll see what he does in a job that I think a lot of people were surprised he got.
Yeah.
But at least he should endear himself to the kids, and that's the first battle that any new head coach has to fight.
A lot of coaching to change at Arkansas, Gil.
You're always concerned when you have someone who's never called a timeout.
Yeah, that's right.
When you're not been a head coach, I think that they're hungry over there, and I think they'll help them. But he's got to get those high school coaches in the state of Arkansas back under the fold. They lost them through the last 2.
Right.
And they've got to get those back.
Yeah.
Sam Pittman, the new head coach at the University of Arkansas. Before that, he'd been the last 4 seasons at the University of Georgia, and he's the highest paid offensive line coach in college football, $900,000 a year, and he's about to get a pretty good raise, I guess, over there. I can't believe Brett Bielema's not making more than that.
Well, he is right now.
Yeah, that's right.
He's not coaching.
Arkansas is paying him. He's
got a pretty good job now, right?
Right. He's with the
Guerin, we got something for you, buddy. So thanks for joining
beautiful.
us.
Make sure
that's
you
right.
come back here again to Bricktown.
Oh, an early Christmas gift from you guys. I appreciate
Give
that.
to Christy. Tell her it's your Christmas gift for her.
She's really sad she couldn't make it tonight. She loves hanging out with you guys for the post-game dinner.
That's great. Appreciate it. Guerin Emig, Tulsa World Sports Columnist. Read it, get all the information you need there. Appreciate it. Next, we're going to talk about some gold balls, high school football championships in Oklahoma.
January 13th to the 18th, the River Spirit Expo Center in Tulsa. The 34th Lucas Oil Chili Bowl Nationals. Monday and Tuesday reserved seats are on sale now by calling 918-838-3777 or get yours at the event. Can't make it for the entire week? Get your general admission pit pass at the event and find seating along the back straightaway. The best drivers in an all-out mudslinging war for the Golden Driller. Get more information, prices, and directions now at chilibowl.com.
Think you need to leave the city to have fun at a casino? Well, think faster. Because wherever you are in OKC, you can get to Remington Park fast. So you'll be here faster and winning faster on all the latest and greatest games. Don't miss our season finale from Wednesday, December 11th through Sunday, December 15th with our Kentucky Derby qualifier, the $400,000 Springboard Mile. Get your heart racing fast in the heart of the city at Remington Park, the fastest action in town.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, and now we're going to go through 6 of the 9 state football championships with our high school guru, Michael Knight. Michael, you saw some football this weekend.
Yeah, it was a great weekend down in Edmond. They had all 11-man championship games there at UCO. And we talked about how good it was going to be for the state of Oklahoma, big picture-wise, to have a central location for all of these championship games. It was a great atmosphere on Friday. Shout out to Poto. Not only did they win the title, but I don't think there was anybody left in the town of Poto. And that was a Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock,
right.
and they absolutely showed out. The atmosphere was outstanding both days. I think it was a home run event, and there was some great football played.
That 6A2 game Friday night, what a classic. Bixby and Stillwater. Talk about that one.
Yeah, I mean, that was the game of the week, right? Sure. We talked about it last week, how it was the game we were looking forward to the most. Bixby, Stillwater, 1 versus 2, both undefeated. The rematch of last year's title game. And it's not often, right, when you have a big-time matchup, you hype it up for about 2 months, really, and it doesn't live up to the hype. This absolutely lived up to the hype and then some. The Presley brothers were outstanding, both Brennan and Braylon. There is a younger Presley who caught the game-winning touchdown with about a minute left. We're going to see it here in a bit. And, hats off to Bixby. Stillwater, heartbreak for the Pioneers again, but an outstanding football game.
It was a heck of a game. I'm driving back from a basketball game. I'm over at McLean opening their new gym that night, and I had the radio on. And boy, when Stillwater scored, I thought Stillwater's going to win the football game. And then Bixby just drives right down the field.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's kind of going to overshadow that run by Quantrell Walker for the go-ahead touchdown. That was one of the wildest runs. I mean, he eluded just about every Bixby Spartan defender on that run to give them the lead, and then there go the Spartans right down the field.
Well, at one point, the play-by-play guy was speechless. I mean, there was dead silence. He said, Ed, he's going to score.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those plays where I'm not surprised because I wouldn't know how to describe it. I mean, what he did to get in the end zone, unbelievable.
Mike, lead your pack. You did some great work for OKPreps.com. Kind of wrap up the 6 championship games so far. Lead us to it here.
Yeah, we had the privilege of, like I said, being at every single championship game. We have all the highlights coming up here in a minute. I mean, from Poto to Bixby on Friday night, and then Saturday's games were outstanding. Again, Lincoln Christian winning the Class 3A championship. Such a talented team that they beat in Plainview 42-21. And then Saturday afternoon, Carl Albert, that dynasty continuing with 4 consecutive state championships. You've got to feel for Bishop McGinnis. They've played him 3 times now in the last 4 years for a gold ball. Each time they've walked away with a silver one. Carl Albert, that dynasty, it just keeps on rolling, and I'm not sure it's going to stop anytime soon. And then finally, the nightcap on Saturday, Chris, with Owasso in a very emotional game with the Jinx Trojans for the 6A1 crown. The longer Jinx stayed in that game, you thought that they might be able to pull it out, but Owasso, they showed why they're the best team in 6A1. They've been the best team all year, and hats off to Bill Blankenship and the Rams, who had to deal with a lot of injuries throughout the game, and they were able to raise the gold ball. They're second in the last 3 years, and it was as I mentioned at the start, a fantastic weekend of football in Oklahoma.
Let's take a look at the package at OKPreps.com. Here's our report from Michael Knight. Michael, I was glad Thomas Washington and I were at the Big XII Championship game, drove back in time to catch that Owasso Jenks game, and great performance at both those clubs. Congratulations. Plan to have Coach Blankenship, hopefully some other state championship coaches on next week's show. So join us at Oklahoma Sports Scene. More championships to decide this weekend.
Yeah, we got the 2A championship, which is one I'm really looking forward to. Number 1 Metro Christian versus number 2 Vian. It's going to be a great game on Saturday night, 7 o'clock kickoff. And then the Class A championship, Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. You'll have number 1 Cashin against number 6 Ringling. This is a Ringling team that, from a stretch from September to November, shut out 9 consecutive teams.
My goodness.
So you think they know how to play defense?
Oh, man.
They know how to play defense.
Wow.
Gee.
Some great ones. Mike, we have something for you for all that good hard work here and covering these championship games.
Next time we're here.
Thank you,
there
sir.
You go at Bricktown.
I appreciate it,
you
guys.
Bet.
He's usually behind the camera, directing
Exactly.
the cameras.
Exactly.
Got Thomas back there now. Thomas, you've got a Bricktown Brewery card as well, my friend. So thank you much. We'll be right back. We're going to talk some esports, right, Coach?
You betcha, with Ryan Boatright from Webster High School.
Winston, tie or bow tie? Good choice.
Sammy, they're here.
Good morning, welcome to Don.
Come on, you guys. What did you think they were here for?
Well,
It's the Honda Summer Spectacular Sales Event going on now at Don Carlton Honda.
Cheers.
All right, y'all, how's everything tasting?
That is awesome.
I come bearing gifts of the liquid variety.
Bricktown Brewery. Come and get it.
Robertson Tire has been your local tire expert since 1962. Now at RobertsonTire.com, it's easier than ever to get a customized quote. And with our price match guarantee, you can be sure that you're getting the best price. For more information, visit RobertsonTire.com.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. Now we have something that's very new, very exciting. We have Ryan Boatright, who is the head football coach at Webster, but Ryan is also the head eSport coach. And boy, do we have something coming up just right after Christmas. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I tell you, esports has just absolutely taken off. Ryan, ESPN is a multi-million-dollar contract to show it off, and you're going to be able to sell to you parents out there that think your kids are wasting their time playing video games. My son Todd already called me and said, Dad, you should let me play more video games. That has a future, and it's really catching on and become quite a sport.
Absolutely, it's a $2.2 billion industry across the world, and it's a major platform, and it's exciting to see that schools are finally see how big of a deal it really is.
Tell us about the program at Webster, when it got started, and how many are involved.
So we started off at Webster 2 years ago. We originally had about 5 or 10 kids, and just started off as a club.
Yeah.
Just want to do it for fun, and then some people caught wind of it, and it's just absolutely caught like wildfire. Now we have over 70 kids at Webster alone that are on the esports team.
We've got a really big event coming up on the 28th of December in conjunction with the Tournament of Champions basketball tournament. Tell us about the E-Tournament of Champions.
Yeah, esports tournament, first big one in the school scene. We're hosting a massive Super Smash Brothers tournament for all high school and middle school students. We're really excited for it. We're hoping to have a huge turnout.
How does somebody get involved with that?
So there's multiple ways. You can follow our Facebook page at esports TOC on Facebook. You can register on there, pre-register, or you can just show up. It's $10 to get into the arena. With that, you get to see all the Tournament of Champions basketball games, and you get to be a part of the esports tournament. It will cost an additional $5 to actually participate in the esports tournament, but $15 total, and you get a really great opportunity to compete at a high level.
Let's talk about the venue, because I think we were really, really surprised what kind of venue Oral Roberts has for this.
At the Mabee Center, right?
Oh my, yes, at the Mabee Center. They have outstanding facilities. It's like they made it for an esports tournament. They have massive seating. They have a huge jumbotron that we can project games onto. It's going to be like center stage at a concert, and it's going to be pretty cool.
Ryan Boatright, the esports coach at Webster High School. Ryan, you were telling me too, these kids just can't come out and just start playing video games. there's some requirements and some GPA and some
Absolutely.
things to keep track. Talk about that.
Yeah, just like any other sport, we require a strict GPA average. You have to have a attendance percentage, and you have to stay out of trouble, in-school suspensions, all that stuff. We really strive on not just having fun with video games, but becoming a better person and athlete, in total.
And promote, you want this to just be part of their experience in school, though, right? Not get consumed with it.
Correct. Everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Video games can be a fantastic avenue. A lot of people just think of it as mind-numbing, but the high level of esports, there's communication, leadership, teamwork, all kinds of stuff that you see in traditional sports that we're trying to transition over into the modern age. So,
one of the things that we've talked about with the Activities Association is that they feel like that this is an activity that a lot of kids who don't play interscholastic athletics can have an opportunity to have an activity. Do you see a lot of your kids that are not involved in anything else playing?
And the amazing thing about esports, kind of like you said, is that it hits all the niches. I was a student athlete growing up, played at the college level, and I was one of the biggest advocates for video games. I loved playing video games. But the cool thing about esports is it's not just the athletes. It's maybe those other kids that can't find that niche that they really want to feed into at school and buy into, and this just provides another avenue to reach out to kids.
And you can be a letter winner, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Fantastic. And give us some idea, some of the big payoffs we talked about. This young man you were talking about at Claremore, right?
Yeah, Mike Skimbo played Madden, I think, 2 years ago and won $300,000 in a weekend.
What are some other examples of big payoffs?
So there's the biggest payoff in esports currently is a game called Dota. They just had kind of like their Super Bowl of competition. It's a worldwide tournament, and the prize pool is over 23 or 24 million dollars.
Is there a senior circuit?
Hey, if there is, I'm joining. I'm going to get you guys in there.
We need to start that, the senior circuit. That's what we need
Give
to
us
do.
information again. If you want to get involved in esports and part of the Tournament of Champions, talk about that at the Oral Roberts Center.
So you can either join the Facebook page at Esports TOC on Facebook, or 8:45 registration at the Maybe Center. Show up, have your $15 ready, and you will be automatically registered into the tournament. Tournament starts at 9, be done around 3 o'clock, and we have a lot of cool prizes. And
what games are you playing?
We're for this one, it being the first one, we just wanted to pick one game that's solid and has a huge base, so we decided to go with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's a 1v1 fighter, and we're really excited.
We need to start practicing, Coach.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got a lot of time for that.
I know it. What do you have for the coach here?
I tell you, come back to Bricktown on us, Ryan.
Ooh.
Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it,
I
Ryan.
appreciate you guys having me. Thank you so much.
Thanks for educating us here.
Good luck.
Hey, no problem.
You bet.
Senior circuit, huh, Coach?
No, I think we're in.
Remington Reports coming up next. They're getting ready for their closing weekend of thoroughbred racing.
Cheers.
All right, y'all, how's everything tasting?
That is awesome.
I come bearing gifts of the liquid variety.
Bricktown Brewery. Come and get it.
Robertson Tire has been your local tire expert since 1962. Now at RobertsonTire.com, it's easier than ever to get a customized quote. And with our price match guarantee, you can be sure that you're getting the best price. For more information, visit RobertsonTire.com.
Think you need to leave the city to have fun at a casino? Well, think faster. Because wherever you are in OKC, you can get to Remington Park fast. So you'll be here faster and winning faster on all the latest and greatest games. Don't miss our season finale from Wednesday, December 11th through Sunday, December 15th with our Kentucky Derby qualifier, the $400,000 Springboard Mile. Get your heart racing fast in the heart of the city at Remington Park, the fastest action in town.
Well, this is hard to believe, the final weekend of the Thoroughbred Race Meet at Remington Park for 2019. And our man Dale Day at the track sent Richard Lenahan to the backside to do some profiles on some of their best women horse trainers.
Remington Park has been home to many prominent trainers throughout its history, and the history of Oklahoma racing has also included many top female trainers. Richard Lenahan has more.
Remington Park has long been fertile ground for one of the best colonies of female trainers in this part of the country. That includes competition against the top male trainers. Lynn Kleberad ranks top 10 all-time for wins around the 300 mark. She is the all-time winningest female trainer at this Oklahoma City track.
I never really thought about myself as being a female,
being a female, I know now is probably really hard because 30-some years ago, females didn't really do anything as far as being in the workforce and being respected. And I had to fight for everything I had. But I got along well with the people around me, but it made me kind of tough-skinned because you have to learn not to get run over.
Carrie Craddock is not far behind Kleberad in the top 15 all-time, and an up-and-coming shooting star is Terry Luniak, who trains the 2018 Oklahoma Horse of the Year welder, who became the first horse in Remington Park history to win 4 stakes in one meet last year. He was named Horse of the Meet here and could repeat with 4 wins this year. Luniak said the women trainers at Remington Park tend to support each other, and she's thankful for their backing.
That backside is definitely a man's world, and so we tend to kind of support each other and stick together. I've had, Veronica Griggs is a huge support to me. She's always so positive and always helped me at the beginning when I was first starting. Another one that's been super is Lynn Kleberad. She's just always been so nice to me and so welcoming.
Mindy Willis might be in the top 15 all time, but she was gone from Remington a few years. Still, she was the first female trainer here to hit the radar with a grass stakes winning horse named Merlin of York when Remington opened in 1988.
I asked my owner, I said, "You want to take a road trip? Let's go." And that's when they had Equitrack. And of course, grass horses liked it, kind of like that, what is that, Tapeta or something? Usually the grass, I haven't run on it myself, but they loved it here. And then I couldn't wait to get on the grass.
Veronica Griggs has always had success here with 2 of her horses, Perfect to Please and Pacific Typhoon, running first and second in the Red Earth Stakes last year.
Oh yeah, definitely had a hard time. Most women aren't accepted, but they get their way in and people see that they're there to do business and to train the best way they can.
Griggs has announced her retirement, and Marissa Black, who has had a good meet, may step into her shoes comfortably. As a wise woman once said in an ode to women, "Defined by no man, you are your own story, blazing through the world, turning history into herstory."
Make plans to join us on Springboard Mile Day, Sunday, December 15th, beginning at 2 p.m. The duffel bag giveaway gets underway. Each bag contains a wagering voucher or cash. Then the racing begins at 3 p.m. Make sure to swipe your Club Remington card during the races. That will make you eligible for cash giveaways throughout the day. At Remington Park in Oklahoma City, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sportscene.
And congratulations to our friends at Remington Park in Oklahoma City on another fabulous thoroughbred racing season. We'll be back with our parting shots right after this.
Think you need to leave the city to have fun at a casino? Well, think faster. Because wherever you are in OKC, you can get to Remington Park fast. So you'll be here faster and winning faster on all the latest and greatest games. Don't miss our season finale from Wednesday, December 11th through Sunday, December 15th with our Kentucky Derby qualifier, the $400,000 Springboard Mile. Get your heart racing fast in the heart of the city at Remington Park, the fastest action in town.
Hey Mo, have you seen the MDX? I'm pretty sure it was in the showroom when I left yesterday.
No, sorry, Jen. I haven't seen it.
Are you positive you haven't seen it?
Hey Mo, I went ahead and pulled the MDX back up on the showroom for it. Oh, hey Jen.
Haven't seen it, huh?
It's back, January 13th to the 18th, all under the giant roof of the River Spirit Expo Center. The 34th running of the Lucas Oil Chilliwack Nationals, presented by General Tire. Monday and Tuesday reserved seats are on sale now by calling 918-838-3777 or get yours at the event. The world's best drivers in an all-out mudslinging war for the Golden Driller. Can't make it for the whole week? Get your general admission pit pass at the event and find seating all along the back straightway. For more information, prices, and details, log on to chilibowl.com.
We wrap things up with our parting shots. Coach Gil Cloud leads us off.
You know, I think one of the worst things that's happened in college football is the college portal. Because now what's happened is it's carried over into the high school ranks. I think we have high school kids that think that there's a high school portal, that I can transfer anytime and with or without a hardship, I'll be eligible. But I think it leads to this. There's a prominent young man over in Stillwater who's debating on whether or not he's going to play in the bowl game. Now, Oklahoma State University has given him 3 years of education because in Division I, the only kind of scholarship you can give is a full scholarship. He owes nothing to Oklahoma State University. He doesn't owe one more game to Oklahoma State University. Some people may not like that, but I got to tell you, as an old coach, the loyalty that is involved in coaching football and playing football is so important. And for somebody to say, well, I'm more important now, I've got to go on and do something for myself, I just can't stand it. I think he ought to stay and he ought to play. And then if he wants to go, let him go.
Well, for the first time in more than a decade, the Oklahoma State High School Football Championship games were not on over-the-air or cable television. That's right, the only way you could get it was paying $10.99 for a special streaming service from the National Football High School Association. That's the only way you could see it. A little disagreement between the OSSAA, along with the Griffin Group that televised the games the last couple of years. Cox TV, they also reached out. A little disagreement on who's had the games, who didn't have the games. Whatever happened, it hurt the fact that these kids didn't get the exposure they deserve. State championship football deserves to be on TV. All right, Coach, next week, hope to have a lot of these championship high school football coaches with us right here on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Well, we look forward to seeing them and hearing about how they won the state championship.
See you next week.